Hey Glitch Text fans, does this ever happen to you? I know I'm pretty late on this, as I hinted at this at the end of my Amphibia review. Most of the audio you're about to hear was recorded at the same time as the other 3 videos, but I figured better late than never, and I hope you enjoy the video regardless of my lateness. Glitch Text is a series created by Eric Robles and Dan Milano. It began life as a series being made for the Nickelodeon channel in 2016, but ran into troubles in the production and staff were laid off back in 2019. However, the showrunners were adamant that the show had not been cancelled. Eventually, Netflix bought the rights to the series, where 19 episodes were completed and aired in 2 seasons during the year of 2020. If you haven't heard of Glitch Text, you're not alone. The show received barely any publicity, and despite being a show about gaming, the usual sites like Polygon or Kotaku didn't cover it. IGN did do a good write-up about the show's well-done diversity, but reviews of the series were sparse at best, non-existent at worst. The show doesn't even have any critic ratings on Rotten Tomatoes, with only an audience score of 100%, and only 7 reviews from those. But for now, let's not talk about the lack of attention that the show got, but let's talk about the show itself. What's it about? Who are the characters? And why do I hold it in such high regard, so much so that I feel like I'm on the verge of cursing out the media for their lack of coverage? Well, sit back for a few minutes as I dive into my love for Glitch Text. The show takes place in the city of Bailey, where 2 enthusiastic gamers codenamed High Five and Meat KO, mainly referred to as Miko, are recruited into the titular organization of Glitch Text, where they are tasked with hunting down rogue glitches in their gaming software before they wreak havoc amongst the population. The 2 team up with various members along the way, and they bond during their misadventures, but little do they know that there's more to the organization than what they are initially led to believe. This show is a mashup of different genre entries. Men in Black, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and Ready Player One are the ones that come to mind immediately upon hearing about the concept. However, I didn't hear about the series until seeing it in the new category on Netflix, and the art style looked appealing, so I decided to give it a shot. Surprisingly, the first episode is 46 minutes long, which would have made it something of a 2-part if it ended up on Nickelodeon like it was originally supposed to. From episode 1 onwards, I was hooked. The colorful art style, the poppy music, the vibrant energy and pace, likable leads, and a fun blend of the aforementioned genre entries, I couldn't help but say to myself, where have you been all my life? I couldn't believe that in a matter of days I had already finished the first season, and was demanding a season 2 immediately. Luckily, I didn't have to wait too long for season 2, despite recovering from in between, which honestly did make the wait longer than it actually was, because that was not fun. What really endeared me to the show and its characters was just how respectful it was to the world of gaming. In a time where we get articles about how gamers are dead, or how gaming is a clique, or a club full of gatekeepers, here was a show that celebrated the world of video games and the people who played them. It didn't matter the race, gender, orientation, all that stuff, all were welcome, and the show handles this perfectly. I don't normally talk about diversity in shows, as I feel that I'm not exactly an authority of what constitutes a diverse show, but I'm talking about it here as it seems like nobody else is. Well, that's not fair, as I'm sure some people are, but the mainstream critics sure aren't, so we might as well do their jobs for them. The show has an extremely diverse cast of characters of different ethnicities and backgrounds. Race or gender rarely, if ever, becomes a point of contention from any of the characters. There's no "go home, gamer girl," or some kind of derogatory racist statement, or a special episode where Zara has to justify why she wears a hijab and a passionate rant about how racist America is, and something privilege. Instead, most of the trash talking comes from Mitch Williams, who serves as a minor antagonist of the series, and he comes after the ability more than anything else. Honestly, the world that Glitch Text presents, in this case, is one of unity, and that gaming is an all-inclusive place where anyone is welcome. I guess that's why gaming outlets and many other sites choose not to pursue talking about it, because it's a show that goes against their think pieces about how gamers are these evil scumbags that hate everything that don't look like them. Instead of highlighting a show that celebrates the positives of being a gamer, they choose to make article after article about how some jerk said mean things on chat, to advocating for failed services where trolls are stream sniped in games in the name of inclusivity. It's just all so tiring, and apparently it was too much to look away from the garbage and see a world where everyone was having fun and being a decent person to one another. In that sense, Glitch Text is something of a miracle that it got made without having some kind of social political agenda being haphazardly thrown in. I'm sure the showrunners were aware of such things, but chose to instead focus on the positives, and highlight its diversity in a way that not only felt organic, but in a way where none of the characters flailed their arms in front of the camera, demanding that the audiences pay attention to them due to how they look. People in Glitch Text just are, and that's the way it should be. But what about the content of the show? What's in it? Well, the show is a love letter to video games, offering loving tributes to games such as Mario, Final Fantasy, Guitar Hero, Mortal Kombat, Metal Gear Solid, and an entire episode is dedicated to Konami's Castlevania, which is my absolute favorite episode of the series, one in which I come back to every so often to bathe in its majesty and excellence. The show is packed to the gill with references, not only from video games but from TV shows, movies, and Japanese animation, and they never feel overbearing or out of place, often leaving as quickly as they arrive, adding to the show's chaotic pace. I talked a lot about the diversity of its cast, but what about the cast themselves? High Five is a charming lead character, who is excited to learn about the new world that he has stepped into, and wants to learn everything he wants to know and more. This somewhat everyman persona is complemented by the show stealer character known as Miko, who some would argue is a take on the manic pixie dream girl stereotype for teenage boys, but she has a character beyond just being a boatload of references and stellar action poses. She's supportive of those around her, and is also a caring sister, but is also brash and quick to brute force, which often leads to trouble. While she and High Five are always together, the two have to learn from one another in order to become a cohesive team. Mitch Williams starts off as an antagonistic and cocky obstacle to overcome, but there are moments of dimension, though it can take a while to get to those moments. Zahara is fun and even a little bit adorable in her personality, and Phil is the no-nonsense boss that wants order in the chaotic world. Though there are only 19 episodes, the various threats the glitch techs have to face is fairly extensive. Fighting game characters, a belligerent bird, the aforementioned Castlevania tribute that takes place inside of a house, and a kaiju battle that involves a dance-off. Yes, you heard me.
Dance off, bro!
The show has it all, and it was promptly ignored by all. Like I said, 19 episodes were completed and released, but there are 10 episodes waiting for the green light to be completed. As far as I'm aware, they are voiced and storyboarded, with all that's left is for the animation to be included, which could take months or even a couple years before anything can be shown. I don't know the states of the episodes now. Netflix nor Nickelodeon have revealed the fate of the show. There have been some reveals from Robles and Milano about what some of the episodes would have been, which would have included a return to one of the worlds featured in the show, and a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover. The last season aired in the summer of 2020, and it's been radio silent ever since. I suppose it's too much hope for a continuation, no matter how many hashtags are made. While it worked for things like Justice League, Glitch Techs honestly doesn't have that massive of a following. And it's mostly the fault of the media. If there are articles about its merits, about its fantastic animation, fun characters, exciting stories, and a glutton of imagination, we could have been looking at a complete series with a massive following. Instead, it was ignored, and whatever story that has been planned may forever be incomplete. Yes, folks, spoiler alert, Glitch Techs ends on an enticing cliffhanger that may never be completed. Just another show in a long line of shows that are canceled before their time.
Another classic science fiction show canceled before its time.
I don't know what the future holds. I don't know how poorly or how gracefully this video will age. But I do hope that viewers like you give the show a chance. And I hope you all enjoy it as much as I did. And even though it may not get the ending that it deserves, it's a journey that I was happy to take, and one that I'm willing to take all over again.